The notification from my security app came through at 8:47 a.m., 13 minutes before the most important interview of my career. I almost ignored it. After all, who checks their personal phone alerts when they're mentally rehearsing answers for a C-suite position? But something, maybe instinct or maybe just nervous energy, made me glance at the screen. Motion detected. Medical supply room. My blood ran cold. The medical supply room at Hartfield Industries was where I kept my backup insulin and supplies. As a type 1 diabetic working 60-hour weeks, I'd learned to keep medical supplies in multiple locations. It was a system that had served me well for the 7 years I'd been with the company. Only 3 people knew about that particular storage spot: me, HR, and Monica Vargas. Monica, my supportive coworker who'd been all smiles and encouragement when I'd announced I was applying for the VP of Operations position. The same Monica who'd been passed over for 3 promotions in the past 2 years and had made increasingly bitter comments about the company's diversity hiring. I opened the security footage, a tiny hidden camera I'd installed after noticing my supplies had been mysteriously reorganized several times. What I saw made my stomach turn. There was Monica, clear as day, removing my insulin vial from the refrigerated case. She looked around nervously, then produced an identical vial from her pocket. With practiced movements, she swapped them out, carefully placing the fake vial exactly where mine had been. The whole thing took less than 30 seconds. But that wasn't what made my hands shake. It was what happened next. Monica pulled out her phone and started typing, a satisfied smirk playing on her lips. My phone buzzed with a screenshot from Carla in IT. We'd become friends after she'd helped me set up the security system. "Thought you should see this," Carla's message read. "Monica doesn't know I can see company Wi-Fi traffic." The screenshot showed Monica's text conversation. "It's done. Switched her insulin with saline water." "OMG, Mo, isn't that dangerous?" "When she passes out, they'll see how unreliable she is. Diabetics shouldn't be in leadership. Too many health issues." What if something really bad happens? I'll act shocked and say she must have forgotten to take her meds. I've been documenting every time she's had to check her blood sugar at work, making it look like she can't manage her condition. I sat in my car, gripping my phone so tight my knuckles went white. Monica had been documenting my medical needs, creating a false narrative about my reliability, and now she'd attempted to trigger a medical emergency that could have killed me? The rage that flooded through me was quickly replaced by something colder, more calculated. Monica had made 3 critical errors. First, she'd underestimated me. Second, she'd put her plan in writing. And third, she didn't know about my backup insulin, the one I kept in my car precisely for emergencies like this. I administered my actual insulin dose, then sent a quick message to Carla. "Save everything. Forward to my personal email. And can you pull Monica's badge access logs for the last month?" "Already on it," she replied. "This is attempted murder, Sarah. You need to call the police." She was right, of course. But first, I had an interview to ace. And Monica had just given me the perfect opportunity to demonstrate the crisis management skills that would make me an exceptional VP. At 9 a.m. sharp, I walked into the conference room where 5 members of the executive team were waiting. Monica was there too, sitting in the corner with her tablet, ostensibly taking notes for the department. She'd volunteered for this role, I realized now, to witness what she assumed would be my spectacular failure. "Good morning, Sarah," David Morrison, our CEO, greeted me. "We're excited to hear your vision for the operations department." "Thank you, David. I'm thrilled to be here." I placed my materials on the table, making sure my medical bag was visible. Monica's eyes tracked the movement, a small smile playing on her lips. "Before we begin, I'd like to address something important." The executives exchanged glances. This wasn't the typical interview opening. As you know, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I've managed this condition successfully throughout my career, but this morning I discovered someone has been attempting to sabotage my health management. I pulled out my phone. 13 minutes ago, I received this security alert. I connected my phone to the conference room display and played the footage. The room went silent as they watched Monica swap out my insulin. Her face, which had been smug moments before, drained of all color. This person, I continued calmly, replaced my insulin with what appears to be water or saline solution. Had I used it, I would likely have experienced severe hyperglycemia within the hour, potentially leading to diabetic ketoacidosis. Sarah, this is... David started, but I held up a hand. Please, let me finish. This situation has given me an unexpected opportunity to demonstrate the crisis management approach I would bring to the VP role. I clicked to the next slide on my presentation. First, rapid threat assessment. Within 30 seconds of discovering this, I'd identified the threat, secured alternative medication, and begun documenting evidence. Monica stood up. This is ridiculous. That footage could be anyone. Sit down, Miss Vargas, said Linda Chen, our chief legal officer, her voice arctic. You're not going anywhere. I continued, showing the text messages. Second, comprehensive investigation. I immediately leveraged available resources, in this case our IT security team, to gather additional evidence. As you can see, the perpetrator documented their intent to cause me physical harm and damage my professional reputation. The executives were leaning forward now, their expressions a mix of horror at Monica's actions and fascination with my response. Third, strategic response. Rather than allowing this crisis to derail my interview, I've chosen to use it as a practical demonstration. In operations, we face sabotage attempts regularly, from competitors, disgruntled employees, even cybercriminals. The key is maintaining composure while protecting both personnel and company interests. I walked to the whiteboard. Let me show you how this approach would apply to the supply chain vulnerabilities I've identified in my operational audit. For the next 30 minutes, I delivered my presentation with Monica sitting frozen in her chair, security having been quietly called to wait outside. I outlined my vision for the department, my strategies for improving efficiency by 32%, and my plans for implementing predictive analytics in our inventory management. But I kept weaving in the morning's events as case studies. How Monica's sabotage attempt revealed weaknesses in our medical accommodation security, weaknesses I would address department-wide. How her discrimination against employees with disabilities exposed liability issues we needed to proactively manage. How the situation demonstrated the importance of redundant systems and verification protocols. In conclusion, I said, returning to my seat, effective leadership isn't about avoiding crises. It's about transforming them into opportunities for improvement. This morning's incident could have been a disaster. Instead, it's revealed a dangerous employee, highlighted security vulnerabilities, and demonstrated the exact skills you need in your next VP of Operations. The room was silent for a moment. Then David cleared his throat. Sarah, I think I speak for everyone when I say this has been the most unusual and impressive interview I've ever witnessed. The police are here, Linda announced, checking her phone. Miss Vargas, you'll need to go with them. And Sarah, we'll need you to file a formal complaint with HR after this. As security escorted Monica out, she turned to me with pure hatred in her eyes. You set me up. No, I replied calmly. You attempted to poison me. I simply refused to be your victim. The interview continued for another hour, but the energy had shifted. We weren't just discussing my qualifications anymore. We were problem-solving together. strategizing about how to prevent similar incidents, discussing the importance of inclusive leadership that didn't discriminate against employees with medical conditions. "One more question," asked Robert Kim, the CFO. "How did you maintain such composure? You could have died, yet you turned it into a presentation asset." I smiled. Living with diabetes teaches you something important. Every day requires preparation, vigilance, and adaptation. You can't control what challenges arise, but you can control your response. Monica thought my medical condition made me weak. In reality, it's made me one of the strongest crisis managers you'll ever meet. 2 hours later, I was sitting in the CEO's office, not as a candidate anymore, but as the newly appointed VP of Operations. The decision had been unanimous. "We'll need to move fast on the security protocols you mentioned," David said, sliding the contract across his desk. "And I want a full audit of our disability accommodations. Monica won't be the last person to think medical conditions disqualify someone from leadership." As I signed my name, I thought about Monica's texts. Diabetics shouldn't be in leadership. She'd tried to weaponize my condition against me, never understanding that managing a chronic illness while excelling professionally had given me skills she couldn't imagine: discipline, strategic thinking, crisis management, and the ability to turn any setback into an advantage. The police investigation revealed Monica had been planning this for weeks. She'd researched insulin shock, calculated timing for maximum impact during the interview, and even prepared a concerned colleague script for when I collapsed. She documented every blood sugar check, every snack I'd eaten at my desk, building a file she'd planned to present as evidence of my inability to manage basic functions. Instead, that documentation became evidence in her criminal trial: attempted poisoning, assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm, and conspiracy charges. Her friend who'd received the texts was charged as an accessory for not reporting the plan. But the real justice came 6 months later. Under my leadership, the operations department didn't just hit the 32% efficiency improvement I'd projected, we exceeded it, reaching 37%. I implemented comprehensive security protocols that prevented 3 attempted corporate espionage incidents. And I created the company's first chronic condition leadership support program, ensuring no employee would ever again face discrimination for managing their health at work. Monica had been right about one thing. The interview did showcase someone's unreliability and unsuitability for leadership. It just wasn't mine. The morning she'd replaced my insulin with water, she'd thought she was ending my career. Instead, she'd launched it into the stratosphere while destroying her own. She'd wanted to prove diabetics couldn't handle executive pressure. Instead, she'd proven that prejudice and criminal behavior have no place in corporate leadership. And me? I kept that little vial of saline water Monica had swapped for my insulin. I had it professionally mounted and framed, along with a small plaque: "Crisis is just opportunity in disguise. S. Mitchell, VP Operations." It sits on my executive desk now, a daily reminder that the things others perceive as weaknesses can become our greatest strengths. Every time a new challenge arises, I glance at that vial and remember, someone once tried to kill me over a promotion, and I turned it into the best interview of my life. Monica's serving 3 to 5 years now, and I've been promoted twice more since that day. Turns out, diabetics make excellent leaders after all. We're experts at managing the unexpected, maintaining balance under pressure, and turning potentially fatal situations into opportunities for growth. Who knew that the skills I developed managing my blood sugar would translate so perfectly to managing a Fortune 500 company's operations? Monica certainly didn't. But then again, she'd never understood that real strength comes not from perfect health, but from thriving despite imperfection.